everybody. Welcome back to my workshop and welcome back to my garage. In today's video, we're going to be completing the Pango Les Paul kits that we've been working on. As a reminder, this video is sponsored by Pango Music. They were kind enough to send me the kits to do the build and the review on, so thank you very much. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get rolling with the video and get these guitars finished. So I got the clear coat shot on the green one. Body came out really nice, the front did anyway, but I'm going to bring you in and show you what the problem is. Not sure how that's going to show up on the camera there, but I'm going to tilt it a little bit. See how that crackle? It came out on the neck, came out on the body, came out on the sides. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to sand all of that back now. I was actually very surprised that that happened with the paint because I used the exact same kind of paint as I did the clear coat. I left plenty of time for the black to dry before I shot it with clear coat, but that crinkle happened almost with the very first application of the clear coat. It immediately did that. So what I ended up doing was I completely sanded this back just to bare wood. I had to take the veneer completely off the back because as you remember that it peeled in a couple spots. So in order to get a good surface, I went all the way down to the original wood. And the only reason why the veneer was there is because this line is diagonal versus straight. So here's the green one now with all the clear coat on it. As you can see, I left the back natural, the back and sides natural this time. I didn't want to have another episode of the black paint reacting to the clear coat, so I just shot it straight over the bare wood. And as you can see, that really richened it up, came out looking really good. So here's the red one. Clear coat's been applied. We're going to start off with doing some wet sanding. So we're going to start with 600 grit wet dry paper, then we'll switch up to 800 grit to finish it. And then after we get it all wet sanded and I'm happy with that, then I'll go through the polishing phase on it. So what I've got is I've just got some water, a couple drops of soap in it as lube to help lubricate a little bit, put a little bit of water on the surface, and I'm just going to lightly sand. And I'm going to do a section at a time, probably a quarter of the guitar at a time. When you're doing your sanding, you've got to be careful around the edges of the guitar because when you put the clear coat on, that's where it's always going to be the thinnest, is around the edges and around the openings of the guitar. Where it comes up to an edge on that, that's always where the finish tends to be the thinnest at, and it's the easiest place to burn through the finish into the actual paint or color of the guitar. You can kind of see the difference in it now. We're kind of getting that dull spot. And then you can see the shiny spots down below it. That's where there's the uneven finish on it, to where the dull is where you're sanding and the shiny spots are still where it's yet to be sanded. This wet sanding does take a while, so in the interest of entertainment, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with this off camera and then bring you back once I'm done. So we're going to sand this little bit right here at the horn. So that's that little bit of sanding there on that horn, and that was looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and sand this one up here by contrast, and that way I'm going to just do one coat, and that way you can see the difference. Here we go. Let's give this a wipe. You can see here there's almost no high spots left because it's smooth and it's pretty much the same all the way through. There's no real shiny spots. A couple small ones. Up here there's still a couple shiny spots that you can see. But for the most part, this top is sanding real easy. So I'm going to continue to sand this off camera. So I've cleaned this up. I've wet sanded it, cleaned it up, and now it's time to do some polishing. We're going to see how the polish does on it. What I'm going to be using, just starting off with I'm starting off with medium polishing compound, StewMac version. Put a little bit on here. Let's see how this polishes up. Let's hit that with some fine now. Let's give this a buff now and see how it looks. All right, overall that's looking pretty good. It's not a mirror finish, but it's pretty close. It's got a nice finish to it. Quite happy with that. So I want to go ahead and put some shielding in the control cavity. So what I've got some copper foil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shield the entire bottom, sides, and overlap it onto the top. So I've got kind of the outline of it. Now I can just cut around the outside of that. And then just use something to burnish it down to make it get all of it stuck down onto the inside. You can also paint inside here. I do that on some I use foil, some I'll paint. That's all shielded. Now all I just need to do is kind of burnish it down and make sure it's stuck good. So as you can see, I've got the cavity shielded, as well as the three-way switch cavity. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get the wire harness put in. This harness came pre-wired. The neck pickup is going to be the yellow leads. The bridge pickup is going to be the red leads. The way you can tell the difference between the pots for the volume and the tone is going to have the capacitor on it. The volume will not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and feed these wires through. What I have here is the red and the yellow and the black ground are all common wound together. I'm going to feed those up through the cavity, and this end is going to go to the switch, the three-way switch. This end will go in the control cavity. This short black wire here coming off the bridge volume pot is going to be my bridge ground. So I'm going to feed that through into the bridge post. The hole's already drilled, and I'm going to bend that wire over. That way when I push the bridge post down into the body, this wire will bend over and touch that, and that'll provide a ground from the bridge to the electronics. First I'm installing the bridge wire through the hole, and I'll show you where that's going to come out at. So if we look at the front of the guitar now, you can see where that wire has come out through the bridge post. And what I'll do is I'll tuck this wire and bend it over. That way when I push that post in there, it's going to provide the ground. I'm not going to tighten these down tight yet. I'm going to wait till I get everything in. Just going to snug them to where I don't have to worry about holding them all the time. And there we go. Bridge is installed. Now I'm going to install the neck controls. Now's the time you want to be careful when you're messing with everything, because you do have a nice finish on the guitar. A lot of times what I will do prior to doing my finish work, I didn't do it on these, but I do it a lot of times, is I'll do a mock assembly. That way I drill all the holes, like for the pickup mount rings, for the tuner holes, everything, before I ever start my finish. Before we tighten those down, what we'll want to do is we'll want to make sure that these are oriented in such a way that it makes it easy to wire in the pickups. The tones, not too big of a deal. I just want to make it to where I'm not touching anything, because I'm not really going to be soldering anything to the tone pots on these. It's just the volume pots that we're going to worry about when we go to solder in the pickups and connect those. But I'm going to go ahead and snug these down. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I hold my pots in the position they're going to stay in, to where they don't rotate on me, and then snug these down. As a general rule of thumb, you want your control pots, you want the tabs on them to be facing inward. That way you have the most room to get in there with your solder gun. And then now I'll feed these three wires up through the cavity. There we go. These wires are pulled through now, and I have plenty of room to be able to wire up my switch outside of the cavity. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this wire in to the insulation, and then I'm going to take and just bend the wire over down into the hole. There we go. That's in. And now we can just take our bridge post. A few gentle taps with this before I do anything else. That way it gets them seated down to the knurled portion of it. Actually, these are going in pretty easy. I can show you a trick with this. If you don't have a drill press to do this, just put your screw in it, run it all the way down, until they seat. Now with that in, as you can see, my ground wire here, it's held in there, held in place now. Do it the same way. We don't need a drill press. Now the bridge posts are slightly different than what the stop bar pieces are, but so you don't want to be hammering on this small piece here, but normally the stop bar tail piece is also the same threads to go into the knurl knob for the bridge, so you can just use that. Now let's just put these in and we'll do a quick trial fit on the bridge, make sure the bridge fits. I've never had an issue with the bridge not fitting on one of these Pango kits, so I should imagine this one will be exactly the same. Okay, stop bar. Fits just like it's supposed to. And the bridge, let's see. And drops right on the post just like it's supposed to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start working on the tuners and get the tuners installed on this guitar. So the one thing you have to look out for when you're doing a 3x3 headstock is there are two different tuners. The tuners operate in the opposite directions of one another to allow for proper tuning. So you want to make sure that you have the bass side tuners on the bass side, treble on the treble. Basically you just slide it in the hole from behind. This one has a sleeve and washer. Just going to put it on the front. I'm not going to tighten these down right yet. I'm just going to barely snug them, because what we're going to do is the third part of this is installing the anti-rotation screw on the back. So what we'll do first is we're going to get the tuners in. You want to make sure that you don't force the tuners into the hole. If it's not going, that usually means that there's some finish buildup or maybe some polishing compound or something in the hole that's preventing the tuner from going through. Basically all you need to do then is just take a drill bit, run it in reverse, run it through the hole, and that'll clean it right out. Or if you have a reaming tool, you can use a reaming tool on it and that'll ream it out. That keeps the hole centered and everything. What I always like to do is I always set the knobs straight with one another. That makes it easier to adjust and make sure that you're straight and in line with one another. The reason why you don't want to snug these down too much is because right now you still want to be able to rotate them to line them up. And you've got the guitar already finished, so by rotating your tuners, you can actually take and scratch your finish. And you don't want to do that. I have upgraded these tuners. This guitar is going to a friend of ours, young man wanting to learn how to play guitar, so this guitar is getting donated to him, and he wanted locking tuners on it, so I went ahead and upgraded the locking tuners. So basically what I do is once I get them installed, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can go from behind and lay a ruler across, but what you run into the problem here, let's see if it'll do it. With some guitars, the stagger of the tuner prevents you from lining them up straight. This one is more in line with one another, so let's go ahead and, there we go, those are straight. Once you have them straight, the best thing to do is just take your 10mm socket and snug the front down, not tight, but just snug to where they don't move. And then I always like to just give it a quick look. That's why I turn the knob sideways. That way you can tell if it's straight or not. It gives you a better indication if they're straight. We've got this snug down a little bit, and now we want to put in the screws, the rotation clip, the rotation pin. All that screw really does, it's not to hold the tuner onto the guitar, it's to keep the tuner from rotating in the headstock. So you want to make, the way I go about it is I snug them down first, make sure that that hole's lined up, then I drill and install the screw, and then I finish snugging down the tuner. So the next thing I need to do is I need to drill my pilot holes. Now you gotta be careful because it's very easy to drill through the headstock. So what I do is I always use just a piece of tape. So I take the screw and I just lay it up against the drill bit, then I put this tape on the drill bit. That way when I'm drilling my hole in my tuner, it accounts for the depth. Now as I do is I just drill my holes. I always use a little bit of wax on my screws. Just helps them cut into the threads easier. And there we have tuners installed. It's time to start soldering up the switch and the pickups. I got this from the Seymour Duncan website. Basically, it says P90s, but it's the same wiring outlay for a humbucker. It goes to the ground in the hot. But it shows 2 pickups, 4 controls, 2 volumes, 2 tones, and a 3-way switch. This end right here is the ground, and that's the single piece at the end. And then you've got the other side of the switch that has 3 pieces. The middle section, those two are together, that's going to go to my output jack. One of the ears on the side will go to the bridge, the other one will go to the neck. What I've got is, this is my hot wire right here. That's going to go straight to the output jack. It's wired right to the center. That way if I'm in the middle position, I'm going to get both pickups running. That's going to be my hot coming in. If I go down, that's going to be my bridge position. So that means my bridge wire is here, my neck wire is there, and then in the back I have a common ground for both of them. So we want to go ahead and get the input jack wired up. My hot lead is right here. That's my hot lead. That goes to the tip. My ground is right here on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and install the ground wire on this. There we go, ground wire is installed. What I can do now is I can feed this through and then hook up the lead wire to the other one before I screw this in. All right, we're going to go ahead and finish getting the pickups installed now. I've got the neck pickup in position. Like I said, you got to put the neck pickup in first because the wires need to thread through your bridge cavity. And then I've got my bridge pickup wire going in, pulling it through. And my bridge pickup set in there. Now you'll notice there's very little movement, or there's no movement at all on these. So I'm going to go ahead and center these up, make sure they're centered up, and go ahead and get my holes drilled. My 4 pilot holes. And again, same as before, just a little bit of wax on each screw. So I ended up doing this next bit off camera just because there was no way to get the camera in here to video what I was doing. My neck pickup came to this pot right here. I wired the hot lead to the first lug, and then I grounded the wire to the back of the pot. The bridge pickup went to this pot right here. And again, same thing, I wired the hot lead to the first lug, and then the ground to the back of the pot. So this is all ready to be closed up now. All the soldering's done in here. Wires are tucked away nicely. So let's go ahead and get the back put on. Now I just want to line the knobs up. Make sure they're all to 10. And then I'm just going to place the first knob on here, and then go to the corresponding positions for all the other knobs. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and get the harness put in. I already did an extensive video on this with the green guitar, so you've already seen it. So I'm not going to do it on camera. Basically, it's the exact same harness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in, get it wired up, do all that, and then bring you back once the wiring harness is in and installed. So thank you to video editing. We go from this, and there we have it. This one's all put together. We've got the pickups installed, the wire harness, all of the control pots, the switch, the tuners, the strap locks. The bridge is a nice fit. So all that we have left to do now is to string this one up, and here they are. The green one came out really nice. I had some issues with the finish, if you remember, when we went through it, but we went with the natural. We decided to go with the natural back and sides on this one. And then here's the red one. This one's actually going to a friend of the family. So I did a little extra on this one. I did locking tuners on it because he did want locking tuners. So I did that. But this one came out really nice as well. Overall, I'm extremely happy with these kits, the way they came out. So that's going to wrap up this video. I do have one more video to shoot with these guitars, and that's just the playability, so you can get an idea of what they sound like. I've played them already. They do sound good. I'm happy with what they are, but the video for that will be coming soon. I just want to thank everybody for watching this video series. And if you like what I'm doing, please click like, click subscribe, follow along with the channel. Until next time, thank you for stopping by the channel, and take care.